Hello, is everything all right?
Our tire just went flat.
It was a little after 10 on a cold autumn night when my wife, Claire, and I were driving back from her parents' place in upstate Vermont. The road we took wasn't the fastest, but Claire liked it because it cut through long stretches of forest and farmland. I liked it because it was quiet. No traffic, no city noise. Just the hum of the tires and the soft sound of Claire's favorite oldies playing on the radio. We'd been married 6 years by then. Claire worked as a teacher, I was in construction, and most weekends we spent together fixing up the little cabin we'd bought near the edge of town. It was one of those nights that felt peaceful, cold, but calm, the kind that makes you grateful for the person sitting next to you. Somewhere past Miller's Creek, the highway narrowed into a single lane surrounded by tall pine trees. The GPS had already lost signal, but I wasn't worried. I knew the way, or at least I thought I did. That's when Claire said, "Slow down. I think someone's pulled over up ahead." I eased off the gas. About 100 feet ahead, there was a white SUV parked on the shoulder with its hazard lights flashing. A small trailer was hitched to the back, and a figure stood near the rear tire waving a flashlight. I remember thinking it was strange because there weren't any houses for miles. Just forest on both sides and a thin ribbon of cracked asphalt. Claire turned to me. "We should stop. Maybe they need help." I hesitated. Normally, I'm not the type to pull over for strangers, especially that late at night, but there was something about the way the person waved, slow, desperate, not aggressive. "All right," I said, pulling over a few yards behind them. When I got out, the cold air hit me like ice. I zipped my jacket and walked toward the SUV. The man with the flashlight looked to be in his late 30s, wearing a dark flannel shirt and jeans. His face was tense, pale under the beam of his light. "Hey," I called out, "you need a hand." He turned toward me, blinking. "Yeah, thank God. Tire blew out. Been trying to get it off, but my jack slipped." I glanced at the SUV. The right rear tire was flat, rim buried slightly in mud. The trailer looked like it was carrying camping gear, coolers, duffel bags, folded chairs. "No problem," I said. "I've got a jack in the truck." Claire stepped out and waved. "You guys okay?" The man smiled weakly. "My wife and kid are inside. It's been a long night." I saw them through the window, a woman sitting in the passenger seat, head tilted against the glass, and what looked like a small boy in the back seat, asleep. Something about it eased my nerves. They looked like a normal family, tired and stranded in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed my jack and tire iron, knelt beside the flat, and got to work. The man stayed beside me, holding the flashlight. "Appreciate this," he said. "We've been stuck over an hour, no signal out here." "Yeah," I said. "Signal drops after Miller's Creek. You heading north?" He nodded. "Toward Ridgeway. Same direction." We talked as I worked, small talk mostly. He said his name was Tom, his wife Jenny, and the boy was Eli. They'd been camping at a lake a few miles west, heading home when the tire blew. At one point, Claire walked up and offered the woman a thermos of coffee. Jenny smiled faintly, saying thanks, but she was fine. Her voice was soft, too soft, I thought, and her eyes didn't quite meet Claire's. I finished the tire in about 15 minutes, wiped my hands on my jeans and stood up. "All set," I said. "You're good to go," Tom grinned. "Man, I owe you big time." "No problem," I said. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a crumpled 20 and held it out. "For your trouble," I shook my head. "Nah, keep it. Just glad you're all right." He insisted once more, but I refused. That's when Claire called out softly, "David." I turned. She was standing near our car, pointing toward the trees. "What is it?" I asked. "I thought I saw something move back there." Tom laughed lightly. "Probably a raccoon. This place is crawling with them." But Claire didn't look convinced. I glanced into the woods, nothing but shadows and branches swaying in the wind. We said our goodbyes, got back into the car, and started driving again. But about 5 minutes later, Claire said something that made my stomach twist. "Did you notice there were no plates on their trailer?" I frowned. "What?" I looked when you were tightening the bolts. "The trailer didn't have any plates, just scratches where they should have been." I shrugged. "Maybe they fell off." She stared out the window, quiet for a while. "And that woman, she wouldn't look at me. Not once." I told her she was overthinking, that maybe the woman was tired or scared. But even as I said it, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling creeping up my neck. About 20 minutes later, headlights appeared behind us, bright, fast, closing in. I squinted through the mirror. It was the same white SUV. The headlights were too close, blinding in the rearview mirror. I slowed down a little, hoping the driver would pass, but he didn't. The SUV just stayed behind us, keeping the exact same distance, its high beams cutting through the dark like knives. Claire turned in her seat. "That's them, isn't it?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah, must be heading the same way." But the way they stayed so close, not overtaking, not falling back, it didn't feel right. After another mile, the SUV finally moved to the side and surged forward. As it passed, I could see Tom in the driver's seat, his face lit by the dashboard glow. He didn't look at me, didn't wave, just stared straight ahead. The trailer rattled as they sped past, and something clanged against the metal, like a chain or a loose latch. When their taillights disappeared into the distance, I finally let out the breath I'd been holding. "See," I said, forcing a chuckle, "just going the same way." Claire didn't respond. She just stared out at the dark tree line rushing by, her fingers gripping her seatbelt. We drove another 15 minutes before I saw something on the side of the road that made my heart skip. The white SUV, parked again, hazards flashing. "Are you kidding me?" I muttered, easing off the gas. Claire leaned forward. "What are they doing?" I slowed down as we approached. This time the hood was up, and Tom stood beside it, waving both arms. "Keep going," Claire said quickly. Her voice had that edge it gets when she's scared. I hesitated. My instincts screamed that something was wrong, but leaving someone in trouble twice felt heartless. "Maybe he really broke down," I said. Claire shook her head. "David, please, don't stop." But I'd already pulled over. I got out, keeping the engine running, headlights on. Tom jogged up, waving one hand. "Hey, sorry, man," he called. "The engine just died out of nowhere. Won't start." He looked nervous, shifting on his feet. "Need a jump?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah, if you don't mind, just for a minute." Claire opened her window slightly. "David, we don't even have jumper cables." "I've got some," Tom said quickly, already walking back to his SUV. Something about his eagerness set off alarm bells in my head. The way he moved, hurried but deliberate, like he'd rehearsed this. "Stay in the car," I told Claire quietly. She nodded. I followed Tom to the front of his SUV. He lifted the hood, rummaging through the back seat, then came up with a set of cables. "Appreciate this," he said again. "Can't believe my luck tonight." As I popped our hood, I glanced at the SUV's windows. The woman and kid were still inside, silhouettes barely visible. That's when I noticed the back window was cracked open just a few inches, and I swear I heard something faint coming from inside. A whisper, maybe a sob. Tom clipped one end of the cables to his battery, then gestured for me to do the same. I hesitated, then bent over to attach them. The smell of gasoline hit me, strong, too strong for just a stalled engine. "Tom," I said slowly, "you smell that?" He froze. "Yeah, probably spilled some earlier." I looked closer. There was a small red gas can under his bumper and a dark stain spreading from beneath the trailer. Something was wrong. I straightened up, meeting his eyes. "What were you towing, exactly?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Camping stuff." "Why?" Before I could answer, I saw movement near the SUV's passenger side. The woman, Jenny, opened her door slightly, just enough to look out. Her face was pale, eyes wide, lips moving silently. Tom turned, caught her staring, and barked, "Get back inside." The way he said it, sharp, commanding, made my stomach drop. I stepped back. "Everything okay here?" He turned back to me, his smile gone. "Yeah, everything's fine." His tone had changed completely, cold, flat. "Actually," I said, backing up a little, "I think we're gonna get going. Good luck with the car." I turned toward mine, and that's when I saw the boy. He was standing behind our car, right in the beam of our taillights, staring at me. No shoes, no coat, just thin pajamas, his small hands hanging at his sides. Claire saw him too and gasped, opening the door. "Oh my God, sweetie, are you okay?" Before I could react, Tom shouted, "Eli, get back here." The boy flinched but didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on me. I started to say something, but then he whispered, almost too soft to hear, "Help us." Everything inside me went cold. Tom stormed toward the boy, grabbed his arm, and dragged him back toward the SUV. The kid whimpered, stumbling on the gravel. "Hey," I yelled. "Take it easy." Tom spun around, face twisted with anger. "Stay out of this." Claire stepped out of the car now, trembling. "David, let's go, please." I wanted to listen, but something about that boy's voice, the way he said help us, wouldn't let me. Tom shoved the boy into the SUV, slammed the door, and turned to me. "Appreciate the help," he said in a tone that sounded more like a threat. "You should get moving." I didn't move. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear anything else. Then I noticed it, something sticking out from the edge of the trailer's tarp. A small, pale hand. At first I thought it was a doll, but then it twitched. I froze. Tom followed my gaze, realized what I'd seen, and for a split second his mask slipped. His face hardened, eyes narrowing. "Get in your car," he said quietly. "Now," Claire whispered. "David." I took her hand and pulled her back toward our car. Tom watched us the whole time, standing perfectly still. As soon as we were inside, I hit the lock button and threw the car into reverse. The SUV's headlights flared behind us, like eyes opening in the dark. Then it started moving, slowly at first, then faster. He was following us again.